if you are ready to increase your daily sales, listen up. The way that you become a category leader is not only having a brand reputation that precedes you, it's over-delivering on your promise, and most importantly, it is fulfilling a need in your target market better than anyone else is. And your business over and over again to create high growth over and over again by learning how to apply this one concept in your business. And that is, today on the Kelly Roach Show, I'm bringing down for you how we're making sales in the hundreds in between launches without increased ad spend, new assets, or additional expense in the business. So if you are ready to increase your daily sales, listen up. So when I wrote the live launch book many years ago, before we taught over 100,000 people how to use this methodology, one of the core concepts that I identified was the biggest pillar for becoming a category of one leader in any industry or space that truly catapulted us to become leaders in the coaching world and allowed both ourselves and our clients to be on the Inc. 5000 list over and over again, allowed us to go from 7 to 8 figures in 18 months, and so much more, was identifying the gap. Identifying the gap. If you've been following me for a long time now, you know that I taught about this very aggressively for many years as it related to the live launch method. And it is one of the core pillars of the live launch method because the way that you become a category leader is not only having a brand reputation that precedes you, it's over-delivering on your promise, and most importantly, it is fulfilling a need in your target market better than anyone else is. And what's beautiful about this concept of filling the gap is that, number one, it's timeless, and number two, it's a moving target. So what I mean by that is, as seasons change, as trends change, as industries shift, and as your client evolves, the gap continues to grow and evolve and move and change as well. And this is really good news for you because it means that you can continue to reinvent yourself and your business over and over again to create high growth over and over again by learning how to apply this one concept in your business, and that is filling the gap. Now, when I was teaching the live launch method for so many years, we used that in the way that we designed the no-brainer offer. And I really talked about in the live launch method how you want to be able to get people results that were better than the last maybe few things that they invested in your free workshop. Well, filling the gap in your market applies today just as much as ever. But the really key distinction that creates a huge sales opportunity for all of you is that because everything has shifted so much globally over the last year, the gap has changed, which means that there is an open opportunity and there is an even playing field for you to step in, to fill that gap, and to become a category of one leader in your space. You're never too late. The opportunity is always there, and God's got your back all the time. So let's think about this for just a moment. How does filling the gap apply to the sales methodology that we're using in the market of today? Well, recently on the podcast, I've been talking quite a bit about trust building offers, accelerator offers, and then your back-end upsell machine, right? And so if there's any of these concepts that you don't know or you're not aware of, don't worry, I have your back. I'm going to link some episodes down below this and some free training so that you can hear more about each of these things and really make sure that you have the whole picture of what we're talking about today. But the gap is that big gaping hole that people are struggling with, that they want, need, and can afford to solve, but that no one in your market is doing a very good job of bringing solutions in. And this is what I have to tell you all. When I became a 7-figure business owner, and then when we became an 8-figure company, I realized a couple of things. Number one, you only have to be a little bit better to really stand out, because most businesses are not striving for excellence. Most businesses are not actually obsessed with the customer and with the market. They're obsessed with their own identity. They're obsessed with what's going on in their own business. They're thinking about their own team, their own offers, their own problems. But the thing that allows you to become a category leader is when your obsession is with being the person that is most connected, that has the best understanding of how to solve the problems that are most painful and most frustrating to the people that are in your target market. Now, let's bring this all around to why are we having this conversation today? Well, we've talked a lot about this being really important in the design of your trust-building offer, but it's also really important in the design of all of your offers. But the key thing is you want to make sure that your trust builder, your accelerators, and your upsell machine all work together. They all work in unison with one objective in mind. And the core objective is increase lifetime value of the customer. Lifetime value of the customer is how much, on average, a customer is going to spend over the lifetime of their relationship with you. And the business that builds lifetime value is going to be the business that scales and the business that wins. And the thing is that a lot of people attempt to scale a business where their customer churn is so high that no matter what they do, even when they're bringing in dozens, maybe even hundreds of clients, they're not actually growing because they're losing as many customers as they're gaining. And this is why most businesses never make it to 7 figures. This is definitely why such a tiny percentage of businesses make it to 8 figures, because it's almost impossible to outsell churn when you're not focused on lifetime value. Okay? So when you think about the way that you're designing your trust building offer, your accelerators, and then ultimately your upsell machine, it's all focused around how do you become the best in class at being in tune with the wants, needs, and desires of your market, providing superior solutions, and helping customers to get the best results. And the playing field is level right now. The playing field is anyone's for the taking, because it's kind of like confetti. This year was kind of like confetti. Everything's kind of been thrown up in the air. And a lot of people have not yet recalibrated. And a lot of people are kind of still spinning a little bit. They're not focused. They haven't locked into a strategy. And the reason why I keep talking about very specific core concepts on the show over and over and over again is that I'm trying to get you to lock in to a very clear and specific strategy that is going to lead you to the ultimate outcome of not only you achieving your goals, your dreams, your income objectives, but doing it in a way that is both sustainable and builds the brand reputation that will ultimately precede you and make it a lot easier to grow into the future. Okay? So let's talk about filling the gap. How do you identify the gap? You have conversations with people in the market. This is the biggest mistake that founders make, is that they want to get away from the interaction with the people as fast as humanly possible. And then what happens is the further and further that they get away from the interaction with the people that they want to serve, the further and further away the business's level of accuracy is in how well they're meeting the market's needs. So the number one thing is having conversations with leads, with clients, and with alumni. Okay? So having conversations. Number 2, asking the right questions. You want to understand what other things people are investing in and why they're investing in them, and what they are and what they are not getting from them. And this is really crucial. when I was designing the Unstoppable Entrepreneur, which was my core program that evolved over the years into Empire Builders as it is today. When I was designing the Unstoppable Entrepreneur, I knew that the number one gap in the high ticket coaching space was that people were being thrown into these massive containers with hundreds, sometimes thousands of people with no hands-on support, no accountability, no personalization or customization. And so people will be spending tens of thousands of dollars and still failing. And so we became the first and only accountability-led high-ticket coaching organization where everything was fully customized and hands-on for each and every person that joined our high-ticket solutions. And because of that core distinction, we built a brand reputation. We were able to scale very quickly. We were able to have a key differentiator that we were able to articulate that made it a lot easier to sell. We're doing the same thing now, obviously, with the virtual business school. The virtual business school is giving the hands-on, real-world, real-time results that people would come to expect in a $30,000 or $50,000 program for $639 for the year. And instead of it being a vault-based program, which is kind of the old way of doing things, it's all real-time, real-life, just-in-time delivery based on what's working now, based on the problems and solutions that our customers need at any given moment. Okay? So the gap is about identifying what solution your market is not delivering for the people that have money to solve it. You do that by having conversations. You do that by asking questions. You need to understand what people are and are not getting from other places and what they desire that they would be willing to invest in. And once you do that, and once you're having those conversations, you're asking those questions, you're gathering the data and information, then the third piece of it is testing. And this is where I think a lot of people go off the rails. They want things to go perfect the first time. They want to try something and have it absolutely hit. There's a lot of testing that goes into this. And I think what happens is, even if people are accustomed to testing or they are attempting to do testing in their business, many times, instead of just going to market imperfectly to test and being very fast to fail, they take way too much time, energy, resources, and asset allocation in the testing process. And then by the time they're done the test, they can't afford to really go back through iterations of it. So the biggest change that's going to help you from a testing perspective is when you go to test something, execute imperfectly, fail fast, gather the information, and set yourself up to be able to run cycles and reps. Because that's where people take themselves out of the game. They can't afford to do it again. They can't afford to start over. They can't afford to iterate because they kind of used all their gunpowder, so to speak, on the other tests that they did. So quick execution, fast to fail, direct to market. And, a lot of times when you're testing an accelerator offer or a trust building offer, the best thing to do is just, if we're going to test something new, a lot of times we'll go and we'll just directly message 50 or 100 people. And we'll know really quickly, without spending any money, whether or not this is something that people want. So for us, we've been making hundreds of new sales, testing these accelerator offers and trust builder offers. And really the only reason why they're working is that we're filling gaps that we already know people want, need, and spend money for. So we've been doing that with one-day intensives on very niche topics. We've been doing that with single power hour calls with the team. We've been doing that with specific packages for templates where we then help people walk through the implementation and integration of them. And there's dozens of ways that you can do this. So there's no right or wrong. It's whatever your people want, your people need, and will spend money to acquire. But the key point that I really want to drill home is that this idea of filling the gap to become a category leader, it's not new and it's not going to go away. It still stands. It is the key thing that helped so many of you to have 6- and 7-figure plus success with the live launch. And once again, it will be the key thing that helps so many of you to have success with your trust building and accelerator offers. So get out of your own way, go get in the trenches with your market, ask more questions, pay closer attention, really be willing to zig when everyone else zags. And that is the key. Zig when everyone else zags. Because when you're trying to fit in, when you're trying to align, when you're trying to deliver solutions and compete with your peers, instead of radically differentiate yourself, then you're just putting yourself in a category of mush. You're not putting yourself in a category of wine. You're blending in instead of standing out. The key to this process is you should be zigging when everyone else zags, because you're supposed to be identifying something that is an unmet need that people are willing to pay for. Now, the final note that I'll make on that is there's a lot of unmet needs in all of our industries and markets that people aren't willing to pay for. We see things all the time that we know our customers should be doing, could be doing, would be great for them to be doing. That doesn't mean they're going to pay for them. So I want to remind you how important it is. So when we talk about the gap and when we talk about the unmet need and discovering that over and over again and using that to design your offers, I want you to remember that it has to be an unmet need that people are willing to pay for. A couple other things that are going to make this really successful for you if you want to go to market quickly and make a lot of sales outside of launch: short time frame, unique and different offer, limited quantity, no-brainer price point. Those 4 things are absolutely going to change the game for you. And that is how you're going to really get that big wow, that big pop of sales all at once. And if you can do that once a month, you can get some really nice cash in the door, but you're also going to both acquire new customers and up-level existing ones. So I hope you'll use the strategy of filling the gap in your market to grow more quickly. And I hope you know that people are absolutely buying. They are waiting for you to be their leader. They are waiting for you to zig when everyone else zags. And the moment that you step into your power and you focus on becoming the best in your industry at understanding your customers and your potential customers' needs, and you really rebuild your offers around that, you're going to see results like you've never seen before. So thank you so much, as always, for tuning into the Kelly Roach Show. I appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, if you would leave a review of the show on Apple, that would mean the absolute world to me. That's how people know that the show is the place that they want to spend their time and invest their energy to learn and grow in their business. So thanks so much for being a part of the conversation. We'll see you back here soon.
Thank you so much for listening to The Kelly Roach Show. If you enjoyed this episode, do me 2 solids. Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review so other people can find the life-changing content that we share here. We're on our way to number 1, and we need your help getting there. Thanks so much for being a part of the community and for tuning into the show each and every week.